What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Schreckbein, joined always by my main man, Jacob Punturi. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talkers. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers got some rough news today as the first padded practice ends before it begins. The rain was coming down fast and hard here at St. Vincent College. Kind of reminded you of a couple of years ago when Friday Night Lights turned into a hurricane real fast. Still, the Pittsburgh Steelers got some work up in the indoor facility, and then afterwards got some pretty great injury news that we're diving into. Plus, they made some roster moves in the last 24 hours that we have to talk about. It's surprisingly good outside right now. The rain up here is wild when it shows up, hilarious when it leaves, just as fast as it came. We're here. We didn't do much today. How you feeling, my friend?
Feeling okay. I prepared for today. I brought my raincoat. I was, slightly ready for this wild day to happen. And we get up here, nothing really to do. As soon as I stepped onto the field, they asked us all to evacuate. So quick day, felt like some light work over here up in St. Vincent's College. But I mean, we were able to hear some good news afterwards. We were able to talk to Coach Mike Tomlin and Darius Slay today as well. So some good coming out of today, although there wasn't a lot of action to witness and report on the field. So I'm doing good, brother. Appreciate you asking.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there is some good news to dive into, which is exciting. Some big news on a day where we thought we'd have different news. We thought we'd have some analysis to break down who looked good, who didn't. It's hilarious that, I was texting my wife throughout this going, oh, yeah, we're getting torrentially downpoured right now. She's like, oh, it's like 85 and sunny in the city. So that's great. Classic Pittsburgh Steelers weather. Let's dive into the big news, the one that took the headline today. That's Broderick Jones. Mike Tomlin announced that their left tackle will return as soon as tomorrow. A soft tissue injury that started with Broderick getting wrapped up on the sideline. Didn't look good at first. You were worried about what's to come, and then he's back 3 days later, 4 days later. Would not have practiced today. He was not ready to practice today. Will return to the field tomorrow. Good news for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Were you surprised by it? Are you concerned about rushing him back? Or do you feel pretty good about where Broderick and the Pittsburgh Steelers are heading into week 2?
I feel good. There's no reason for me right now to feel any other way, in my opinion. A soft tissue injury is concerning. I voiced just as much of the same yesterday. You just never really know what's going to happen with it. You don't know if it's going to be re-aggravated easily, if it's just something very minor that just takes him off the field for a couple of days, like we are anticipating this to be for Broderick Jones. So all in all, I'm not too worried right now. But that being said, I am holding a little bit of caution here for once he returns to the field, hopefully tomorrow, just to see, hopefully it was just a quick thing. He's back on the field 100%. We move on. But there's got to be a little bit of that flicker in the back of your head that just has to go. Is he 100%, or will this be some sort of nagging injury that comes up time and time again this season? So feeling good, but you have to have a little grain of concern there heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good move for the Steelers to get this out of the way, to get kind of excited about where they go. And hopefully it's nothing. I hope that it's pretty minor. I will say that the one bad part to this, the one side effect that there are no negative side effects to getting somebody back, but the Steelers would have gotten a couple of days to see Dylan Cook and would have gotten a couple of days to see what their backup has, or I guess their backup's backup has, and to see if it's good enough moving forward. Now they don't get those days. Now they have to judge Dylan Cook and Calvin Anderson against the second team and say, okay, let's make a decision, a pretty massive decision based off of second string and third string reps, which I don't think is ideal. You'd much rather him get those opportunities with the first team, even if it is for as bad of a reason as Broderick going down for a couple of days. That to me is the only part of it that you're going, okay, would have liked to see that. Still in the long run, I think it's okay. when you look at that, are you concerned? Does it change your outlook on how the Pittsburgh Steelers might approach their backup? Because 24 hours ago, we're sitting here talking about how the team likely shows their hand, that they are willing to make changes and be aggressive to figure this out. Are you less sold on this, less concerned about this, or more concerned about it now?
Honestly, I'm more concerned about the depth, probably just as much same level of concern that I had yesterday regarding the offensive line depth. I think the flip side of getting Broderick Jones back, which cannot be stated enough, is a positive, huge development and will hopefully have a strong impact on the Steelers. That being said, the depth of the offensive line has been something that is increasingly worrying me as we get further into training camp, as preseason game number 1 rapidly approaches and week 1 of the regular season is not too far behind. So yeah, I really was looking forward to seeing Dylan Cook on the field, to evaluating Dylan Cook, and to getting a bit of a microscope on him a little bit to see what they have here, because that was the one, call it a positive maybe, but the one positive opportunity at least was the fact that they could get Dylan Cook out there, really throw him to the fire and see what he's made out of. And if it would have worked out in the Steelers' favor, what a great development that would have been if Dylan Cook emerges as someone who is a really competent swing tackle and back up to Broderick Jones. But now you just won't be able to prove that one way or the other. And so I think that question remains of, is the offensive line a strength or is it the Achilles heel? It's just you don't have that answer yet. And I think maybe having Dylan Cook available with the ones for a couple of days could have provided some clarity regarding that.
Yeah, I think it definitely would have, and the Steelers kind of need that clarity right now. It's not time to waste that. You need some answers. You need some idea of what you need to add to and what you don't need to add to. But again, we will see what happens there. The other side of the news in the last 24 hours, the Pittsburgh Steelers have released a man that we have talked about many, many times on this show, that I think a lot of people have waited a long time for you to get a one-on-one interview with, that you will not get that opportunity to do so where we sit today. The Pittsburgh Steelers release Cordero Patterson. They bring in guys like Lou Nichols, who, I mean, 4 years ago led the NCAA in rushing yards and had one ridiculous season at Western Michigan, has since come down. He's on his 3rd NFL team. Cordero leaves. I mean, we had a conversation, a brief one, about if they could trade him later in the offseason. I'm not going to ask, are you surprised? I just want your thoughts on Cordero leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I will remember you. Will you remember me? This is guys, I'm genuinely so distraught because I was really looking forward to talking to Cordero Patterson, to getting some insight as to why this mystical man of mystery was such an important part of the Steelers for a couple of years. Sad to see any player, get released and have uncertainty in their lives. Wish him the best. Hope he's healthy. Hope he's able to pick up somewhere if he is choosing to continue his career. Not going to lose any sleep over the fact that he is no longer with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Lou Nichols, is that the player you just mentioned they brought in?
Yeah, running back Lou Nichols played for was originally drafted, I think, in the 7th round to the Green Bay Packers, spent last season with the Philadelphia Eagles on their practice squad. This is a dude who, I don't think has a real opportunity to make the team, but he does have some impressive college stats. I mean, 16 touchdowns and like 1,800 yards in one season, which is absolutely insane.
That is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I don't have much. I don't have any sort of anticipation that he will carve out a role with the Steelers here, but it's nice to see someone else get a shot. I think my immediate reaction to CP84 no longer being here is it sort of opens up easier pathway, a clearer pathway for Trey Sermon to make the roster if they are opting to carry 4 running backs. But I think that's the bigger question. But all in all, I'm most sad that all these fun times I've been having with my best friend Cordero is going to have to come to an end here. So a necessary move. I'm still so perplexed why we waited this long, why it dragged out into July. you mentioned, I the only thing that it comes back to in my head is maybe they were trying very hard to trade him, and they were seeing if it taking as long as possible to see if there was any interest, while they were also seeing if he had where his health was at. So, lots of reasons. Not sure exactly why, but I think overall good move for the Steelers to not have a multi-million-dollar player on their roster that they had no plans for.
Yeah, I agree. And Mike Tomlin kind of gave us some insight today on who's going to replace him, how they're going to go about that. Roman Wilson, Kenneth Gainwell are expected to be the kick returners, and then Calvin Austin's expected to remain the punt returner. I'm actually kind of excited. Like, Kenneth Gainwell is an easy one, but Roman Wilson getting reps back there, I really like, because he's got a ton of speed and he can make moves. He's a shifty guy. I don't mind him being in the back or being back there to return kicks. I'm actually a little excited to see it. I think it gives him a little bit more purpose on this roster, when his purpose as a wide receiver maybe might not be as strong as we thought it was going to be heading into training camp. But I do like Roman back there. I like Kenneth Gainwell. Calvin Austin's a freak. We all know that as a punt returner, and I'm excited to see that one. But I also agree, like, you look at Cordero, and you don't see a guy that the Steelers are going to miss whatsoever. I honestly am a little bit shocked that we made it this far with him not on the roster. We'll see what happens. Just some other news and notes as we make our way around the AFC North here. You go Baltimore Ravens. Isaiah Likely goes down with an ankle injury, had to be carted off the field. I'm blanking on a name here. Emerson, the corner in Cleveland. I apologize that I can't come up with his first name. And tearing an Achilles in Cleveland today, which is not great. Kenny goes down on Sunday with a hamstring, getting beat up. Obviously, don't know the severity of Likely. Massive blow if the Ravens do lose out on him, while the Steelers remain relatively healthy heading into week 2. Same with Cleveland. Kenny might be traded. You never know what's going to happen there. The whirlwind of AFC news here. You got a quick reaction. Emerson Martin, thank you guys very much. You have a reaction to the chaos that has happened in the AFC North in the 24 hours or so since we've been on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, here, football's back is my immediate reaction. And the unfortunate reality of it is that injuries are as common as any other part of the game. And it's a shame, because AFC North football is its best when everyone is healthy, when everyone has their top options, their top weapons, and it can truly be that battle of what is the premier division within the NFL. So, I hate hearing about injuries. The Achilles injury for Martin Emerson out in Cleveland is awful. You hate to see, especially a secondary player who relies so much on his quickness and athleticism, to have an injury like that. Wishing him a speedy recovery. The Isaiah Likely thing, I know we're not a Ravens podcast, but that hurts, man, because Isaiah Likely is a hell of a tight end, and he makes the competition against the Steelers that much more difficult, because they've had such a hard time playing against tight ends in the Lamar Jackson offense. So, the Steelers might be slightly happy that they won't have to face such a top weapon for Lamar Jackson if he is out long term. But I mean, you just hate to see any injuries like that where players are going to miss a substantial amount of time. I don't care if they're rivals, on the Steelers or not. I just hate to see it. So wish them all a speedy recovery, but that Isaiah Likely one's going to hurt a ton for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens if he can't get back this year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I expect him to be back at some point. I think they're going to get an MRI if it's just an ankle. Even a high ankle sprain could be a couple of weeks. That's what John Harbaugh said, which isn't great. I feel you on that one. It's a massive blow for Baltimore. You never want to see that. You want to play best on best always. And I think anybody in Pittsburgh would let you or would tell you the same thing, and they never want to see anybody go down. But it is wild to, just like you said, football's back, and that's kind of the vibe we're getting here, is that football has returned and guys go down, and this thing, it starts to make its way through. The injury wave starts to hit everybody. You can't avoid it. It's not great to see it begin, for sure. Let's kind of talk about what we could from today. There wasn't much of practice. They went out there for individuals and to stretch a little bit early, hoping to beat the rain. Didn't happen. The rain came down pretty quick. We got to talk to a couple of guys this morning, I know what kind of stood out for me, but before I go on my little tangent, I'll kind of let you talk a little bit. I know that you got some notes as well. What were you able to gather from today? I know people want something, I want something to latch onto. Everybody does. You only get a couple of these training camp practices left. We only got 2 weeks of this. What were we able to gather before anybody even touched the field?
Yeah, so I mean, a few things. Thankfully, the first was I got the chance to talk with Robert Woods for a little bit here, and I was able to kind of hear his excitement. And I imagine I have something to check out when I'm done here, based off of Noah's laugh here. But I'll go on in the meantime. It was
Wow.
I just saw it. Sorry. And so Robert Woods, one of the things he talked about today was the excitement that he had to put on the pads for the first time. He had talked a lot about how exciting Cordero Patterson salad. Shout out. The funeral will be held sometime this week. We'll send out information to everybody. But as the veteran here, Robert Woods came in, I think, eager to put on the pads and to kind of show off what he has. I think over the first week of camp, we haven't really talked much about Robert Woods other than the fact that his role on the team is in jeopardy based off of how everyone else in camp performs. And the thing that he said that stood out to me was, don't be soft. And I think that is the most important thing going into putting pads on here. Robert Woods might not have stolen the show with some acrobatic catches in the first couple of days of training camp without pads, but I think he was ready to set a tone here with his physicality, with his effort, with his professionalism, and I think that might have been the start of us seeing Robert Woods kind of start to break out, and as to why the Steelers might have brought him in the first place. The other thing that was, huge, and I think I want to touch on a little bit here was Corey Trice talking about sort of what he's been gleaming off of TJ Watt from their offseason workouts. Heading into year 3, I think we all love Corey Trice, right? We love the length, we love the athleticism, we hate that injuries have taken him off the field. And now it seems like he's healthy, he's ready to go, and he spent a ton of his offseason working out around the Steelers facilities. And he said one of the players that he worked out with was TJ Watt. And from his workouts, the thing that he took away and the thing that he talked about several times in his conversations with us reporters today was how hard TJ Watt works and how hard he wants to work and implement that into his game. So he was taking from TJ Watt, learning from his example, and he wants to really put it out on the field. And I was eager to see him going up one-on-one on some of these wide receivers with the pads on for the first time. I think Corey Trice has taken a nice step so far this offseason, so it was nice to hear he's building off of some of the veteran leaders in front of him with the Steelers organization.
Yeah, his reaction to TJ was hilarious. TJ had some good things to say about you. He said that he's a guy that he's ready, that he'll be. You're a guy that he'll be watching. And he goes, TJ said that? You're like, yeah, he did. He was actually pretty excited. And then made it be known that the two worked out, which I thought was also super cool. And that's why TJ had his eyes on him, because he saw him in the offseason. He saw what he's able to do. He saw the work that he was putting in. And I think that's exciting, is to be able to see the work that these guys are putting in for a veteran like TJ, to get that extra time with Corey Trice and to be able to say, hey, like, I spent a couple of days with you at the facility. We really got into it. I really understood where you are, where you're coming from, who you're trying to be, and what you're doing to get there, which I think is massive. I agree with you 1000%. Corey was one of the guys that I wanted to see today. We were driving up here, coming through names and just saying like, hey, what are we looking for here? What are we looking for there? And Corey was there. Corey was a guy that he's looked so good throughout training camp practice that I want to see him in these one-on-ones. I want to see him get an opportunity against DK. I want to see him get an opportunity against a Robert Woods or even a Calvin Austin, or to go up against Jonnu Smith and see if you could win those battles. I just think that that's really important to see and to gauge where Corey Trice is as a player right now, which I think is huge for not just like today and this season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but to move forward with the Pittsburgh Steelers and what their future looks like. Corey was a guy for sure that today I took away and just standing there for a little while going, yeah, this is a good interview, and this kid's got a good head on his shoulders. Mine's on the defensive side as well. Payton Wilson said it last week that he thinks he's the best cover corner in the world, or could be the best cover corner in the world. And then Malik Harrison said he also believes Payton Wilson might be the best cover corner in the world. And then Mike Tomlin said he's going to get an opportunity to prove himself. To me, I'm just looking at it going, the Pittsburgh Steelers have they're seeing more than we are. They have eyes on the field more than we do. And they see something in Payton Wilson. Payton Wilson's doing something out here that has the Pittsburgh Steelers really fired up. I wish we got to see it today, but I'm excited to see it whenever it happens, because the Steelers, they see something in this kid and they want him to make the most out of it. He looks bigger, like I've said a number of times. He looks bigger this season. He's still fast. I mean, maybe he's right. Maybe the team's spot on that Payton Wilson is the best cover corner in the world, but it's a massive that's a massive bar to set for yourself, and then to have a teammate follow up on, and then for your head coach not to say like maybe he's overshooting some stuff here, and to just be like, love the confidence. He's going to get an opportunity to show it. You're going, all right, cool. That's a lot on his plate, but I am excited to see it, and I think it's a turning stone for the future. But Payton Wilson's my big one. To hear that, I immediately was like, okay, it's not just Payton being confident in himself. The Pittsburgh Steelers see something in this guy that I don't think we've seen yet.
Yeah, truly. And what Malik Harrison's comments sort of reminded me of, it brings me back to what Darius Slay was talking about in his press conference as well. Someone asked what he, sort of his take on like what makes a championship team, like what sort of perspective can he brings. And the word that he used was connection. And you can see it with this Corey Trice, TJ Watt sort of link up here, the way TJ Watt is being so, he's being so complimentary of Corey Trice. And you can see Corey Trice, he vocalized how much he was going out of his way to try and absorb from TJ Watt. You have Payton Wilson coming in very confident, and then you have his teammates, people who are below him on the depth chart, confirming how confident he should be. And so you see this element of connection that Darius Slay mentioned earlier to us. And I think that is really already coming into play in more so just the teammates building camaraderie, building, a locker room connection or something like that. I think it's going a little bit beyond that, where you're seeing players sort of go outside of themselves and players sort of relying on each other in a way that we hadn't seen the past couple of years. And I think that's, an excellent step in the right direction. So I just wanted to highlight that as well, since I heard Darius Slay say that at his press conference.
Yeah, Darius Slay was cool. When you wait an hour for a player, you start to get a little nervous about like, okay, you better get something good here. And he didn't give like any major headlines. There was no big story to write, but it was a good takeaway to just say the Steelers have a lot of personalities in this room, but Mike Tomlin has a plan, and that's to bring in guys that know how to win a Super Bowl and try to teach everybody else how to win a Super Bowl. And, well, I think that's how you win a Super Bowl. Do I think the Steelers are going to? I wouldn't bet on it, but I don't think that it's a negative. I had people at my house today doing work before I left, and they knew what I do, and they were talking to me. And as I'm leaving for the day, they go, they're gonna pull it off this year. And I said, I think they might have the best defense in football. Like, I think they really might have the best defense in football. And you tell me that 2 months ago, and my answer, or you asked me that 2 months ago, and I say, maybe you win 9-10 games and, things are looking okay. You asked me that today, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have slowly showed their hand to what their course of action has been to get here. And I like how they've gone about it. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think at the same time, it's not it used to be like, oh, we brought in Isaac Seumalo because he knows how to play championship football. And we brought in Broderick Jones because he won a national championship as a left tackle in Georgia. And you're going, Broderick's coming from college and Isaac Seumalo doesn't say anything. So there's not really much to gain here. Now you're looking at it going, Jalen's won a Super Bowl. Aaron's won a Super Bowl. Darius has won a Super Bowl. These guys know what they're doing. They know how they got here. Patrick Queen's won games. DK's won games. Jonu's won games. They know what they're doing. And I like the plan. Like, I like how it's coming into fruition for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will it work? We don't know, but I agree with you. I like where we're going as the Pittsburgh Steelers enter tomorrow. Last question for you here. Anticipation's got to be even higher for tomorrow. What do you got? Give me the one thing that you are now super itching for, because now we have to wait another 24 hours, hopefully. for somebody to hit somebody in pads.
The anticipation surrounding Caleb Johnson going up in backs on backers just continues to mount for me. I was already very excited last week. I was even more excited over the weekend. I had reached a terminal amount of excitement last night and this morning to watch Caleb Johnson go through the backs and backers drill. And now it is just building up even more. So I want to see that. I'm so curious to see how that pass blocking responds, how that, how the best cover linebackers in the world going up against Caleb Johnson, how that shakes out, and just seeing how he responds to the challenges of taking on a tougher camp environment and what that does and means for the running back room. It's all about Caleb Johnson for me too, entering what will hopefully be a day of practice that actually goes through tomorrow.
Yeah, Caleb to me is a big one. Obviously, I laid out a couple of them. Again, me and you were talking on the drive up here, just like, hey, who we looking for? What guys have our attention? And I had a little bit off the wall guys like Mason McCormick. To me, is a guy that we're not talking about enough, and that's because there are no pads on. But when the pads come on and Cam Hayward lines up across him in one-on-ones, can you hold your own? Can you do that? How have you taken a big enough step forward to be that guy and to be a true starter? Y.E. Black, super exciting guy, very excited for him. And while Derek Harmon is a stud and all eyes will be on Derek Harmon, I already know Derek Harmon's going to win some reps and look really good in the process. But where's Y.E. Black going to look? How good is Keanu Benton going to look tomorrow? That's a massive question to me is how good does Keanu Benton look in his new slim, super ripped body for a guy who's 320 pounds, does he walk away a big winner? In one-on-ones, does Broderick come out here and actually win some reps? Is he able to do so? Guys like Jack Sawyer, how good are you right off the bat? Because if you look real good, awesome. But that's to me, that's a lot of them is where are you? Corey Trice is on that too. Where can we start the gauge? Where can we begin to know, okay, this is where you are as a player. How much can you grow by the end of camp, or how much do you need to grow by the end of camp? And those guys, to me, the Mason McCormick, the Y.E. Black, the Jack Sawyer, the Broderick, I guess, but Broderick in a different light. He's more of a you gotta prove it type of guy. These other guys it's massive, but you do need, you don't really know. You don't really know what Mason's going to do or what Y.E. Black's going to do or where Keanu Benton's going to be. The Jack Sawyer, the Corey Trice. To me, it's those guys to say, all right, when all eyes are on you, when we're finally paying attention to the Mason McCormicks, what does he do? How good does he look out there against what I would guess is the Keanu Bentons and the Derek Harmons and the Cam Haywards and kind of those big guys up front?
Yeah, Mason McCormick is absolutely someone who's under the gun a little bit. I think just for the fact that there hasn't been a lot of attention given to him. We're talking so much about Zach Frazier going into his second year and what sort of step he can take. And I think he feels like the more sure thing, the more certain thing for the second year. But Mason McCormick is just as important. If he has any sort of sophomore slump or slide, the right side of that line is already questionable and inexperienced with him and Troy Fautanu set to occupy the right side. So if either of them struggle, it's going to just exacerbate the issues with the O-line that we've been talking about for sure. And I love the Keanu Benton one too. I think he's in danger of being, the most overlooked player on the Steelers defense right now. And I think it's, well earned by the performances of Derek Harmon and Y.E. Black in the early parts of training camp here. But Benton's got to step up here. He's an important part of the defense. He has been the past 2 years, but he is in some sort of danger. I wouldn't put him on the hot seat, but there is a lot of depth on this defensive line. And if he does not come out and perform soon, he very well could be. So I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that starts by him having a strong performance tomorrow, going up a Mason McCormick, going up against, whenever Isaac Seumalo gets back onto the field, whenever he's healthy enough, going up against him to see how much he has progressed as well heading into year 3.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Big day. Hopefully the field is dry. It came down today. It was crazy. It was so crazy how fast it went. The rain in Latrobe, it really Pittsburgh rain as a whole is pretty wild. but it's just hilarious how fast it comes, how crazy it gets rather quickly, and then how it just disappears to nothing. It's like it's like Florida weather. Anybody who says like, man, dude, I can't live in Pittsburgh anymore. I gotta move to the South. Well, you're here, man. This is Florida. You get a half-hour rain every day. It's the wildest rain you've ever seen. I guarantee I go home to a flooded basement, but it's there, and then it's 75 and sunny out there. It feels like 101 immediately, which is hilarious. We'll be back tomorrow here, and we're super excited for it. We're gonna start answering everybody's questions, so make sure you're tossing them in the chat first. We had this one sent to us by Macaroni Salad yesterday, and I told the guy we gotta listen to it because me and Jacob turned it on immediately after the podcast, played it together, and I mean, shocked. It can't even describe what emotions went through our head as this happened, as this was played. It was super, super crazy. I can't describe it anymore. Just shout out to Macaroni Salad for this one. We're gonna play most of it. We probably won't play the whole thing, and then we'll start answering everybody's questions. Check it out. Here we go. Macaroni Salad. And yes,
rolling through the city, yeah, it's AST Nation. Big Strack in the black Cadillac, feeling the vibration. Two big cats next to him, no fear in their eyes, throwing hands with the ghost while the night amplifies. Jacob's in his hoodie, ready for the show. Musicals blasting while we dodge all the fakers. Ghost in the crib, shadows casting doubt, but in this fight it's what we're all about. Picnic pack, we keep it live. Big Strack in the whip, moving fast and slick, living life in the lane, ain't no time for the trick. From the mat to the mic, we're making headlines. Together we rise, living out these big designs. Stealing dreams, we're slamming on the haters. Music calls, blasting while we dodge all the fakers. Ghost in the crib, shadows casting doubt, but in this fight it's what we're all about. Picnic pack, we keep it live. Keep it rolling, the vibes never lack. All Steelers.
Yeah, that was so awesome. Shout out to Macaroni Salad, man. When we got this, it was incredible. Could not stop. Like, the reaction was just like jaws on the floor. Like, it was insane. So shout out, my man. I hope you're here. I hope you're listening. I hope everybody's having as great of a day as we were having after we heard that one. Can't get any better than that. And with that said, let's start answering everybody's questions. Once again, dude, shout out to good old Macaroni Salad on this one. Let's keep it trucking. If you got questions, toss them in the chat. Shout out to our super chatters. Shout out to our members. Can't thank you guys enough as always. And we will get it kicking here with good old Smootus Bodus. Broderick Jones has been a war criminal for the Steelers offensive line. Bench him for the second string tackle. Look, at the Steelers season might depend a lot on Broderick Jones, to be really honest. There is not a replacement option for him right now that you can look at and feel really good about. It's a lot of it comes down to good old Broderick Jones, and if he's going to be the guy. I don't know if he's going to be. It does not look good so far, but it comes down to it. Let me ask this question. Do you think that Broderick losing weight is a bad thing? Do you think that now that you see it, you're a little bit nervous that losing weight was not the right move?
No, I don't feel that way today. I maintain that it is to his advantage to hopefully make him a little bit more agile, a little quicker. Hopefully that little bit of slimming down helps in that regard. But I mean, yeah, I think it's totally fair to ask the question right now. And I think especially given his questionable, perhaps poor performance over the first week of training camp, it is even more of a pressing question to ask. But to me, it hasn't been an issue with his weight. I don't feel like he's being totally out muscled. I think he's being outworked. I think he's being out-techniqued so far, and I think maybe once the pads come on, he can show off a little bit more of the technique progression that he has, if there's any to show, I'll add. But I all in all, I don't think it's a problem for him to have lost the weight. I think it was actually a help to him. But I mean, if he's going to keep getting pushed back once pads are on, then yeah, I mean, obviously we can look back and be like, dude got too skinny for this year.
Yeah, I agree. My only issue is that, like, yeah, just like you said, like, he got skinny. He should be quicker. He's so slow. Like, he's just not getting quick. He's not getting beat off. Like, nobody's pushing him 10 yards into the backfield. They're just blowing right by him. And you're going, what are you fixing? How do you fix this? I agree with you. Like, I would hope that it makes him more agile. He looks real small, maybe too small, but if it works, fine. I don't care, you know, and if this is a fast, quick pace offense, I don't care, but you have to be able to become athletic and agile, and he's neither of those things right now. It's almost as if get off time is just that big of an issue. I don't know, but it is I agree with you. I'm nervous. I think it could be used to an advantage. It's just like the Zach Frazier, it's just like the Troy Fautanu, like, not the biggest guys, but I think they could use that to their advantage. I think Broderick could too, but he just doesn't look good right now. End of the day, he just does not look good at all. You look like you got more thoughts.
Well, when it comes to get off time, like, I don't think that. Well, I guess I had this question for you. When it comes to get off time, did you expect that him slimming down would have been the solution to a quicker get off time, or do you think it's like a technique thing? And if it is, why are we not criticizing Pat Meyer more? Because if, you know, I'm not an offensive line specialist, couldn't tell you if they told him you're a little bit too slow, so drop X amount of pounds, and we think that'll solve the issue, or if there's something wrong with his footwork or something like that with the snapping of the ball, and it, like, where do you see that issue being more so? Have you identified it?
See, that's the craziest part, is that last year, if you asked me what was wrong with Broderick, I'd say his hand placement is atrocious and he didn't finish plays. That would be my two big ones. The beginning of training camp, it's his feet. His feet are all over the place. He's just not reacting the way that he should be reacting. He can't move fast enough. So I don't know. I mean, I think Pat Meyer is walking a dangerous line of not developing these guys well enough, you know, and I think he's been walking that line. I don't think that's anything new. So yeah, I do think that a lot of it's on Pat Meyer, but I also just think that you drafted Broderick Jones as a really raw talent who has a lot of talent, but you had to hope that he could put it together. And so far he can't do that. So you've taken a risk, and maybe that risk isn't going to work out, but just to identify it, last year, it was his hand placement and it was his finish. Like, if he got his hands on you, chances are he wasn't going to finish the play. And a lot of times he couldn't get his hands on you. So it just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. Like, I think that's what it is. And I don't know if it's able to be fixed. Where we sit here today.
Tough spot. I mean, it feels more and more like this is becoming the most concerning part of the Steelers offseason, or remaining offseason and training camp here. I mean, if he doesn't have a big day tomorrow, if they practice and they're on the field in pads, oh boy, I think Jacob's going to be very deep down the panic meter and down that road if it's another poor performance from Mr. Broderick Jones.
Yeah, shout out to Macaroni Salad. It's our guy right there. That was awesome. It was, again, I can't explain to you the emotions that went through our head. It was nuts. I texted everybody I knew this song immediately. I was just like, yo, listen to this. And the attention to detail in it is fantastic, man. Like, it's so crazy to think the Ghost got a shout out. The Big Strack and the Black Cadillac got a shout out. Shout out to a 7th grade, 10th grade, 9th grade. I don't remember what grade I was in. Noah, Big Strack making the EP, as always, with Little Leach. You know, it's just awesome, man. Jacob in his hoodie always. It was so cool. It was so cool. Potato salad here. Oh, Fryermuth, provide our Steelers with good health. Line pad up and middle linebacker too. It don't matter. Ratbird's going to struggle without home field in the playoffs. What a little praise here. A little song to sing in the middle of this podcast. It's hilarious. Super awesome. Pat, man, I think the coolest part about Pat in the last week has been the viral clip of him like shrugging off a Aaron Rodgers pass that everybody blew up and made like, oh man, dude, Pat hates Aaron Rodgers. And then he went on the McAfee show and was like, yeah, no, I was actually pretty pissed at myself. That was the moment, because Pat is the least dramatic human I've ever met in a Steelers uniform. And it's awesome because those are the guys you tend to love for sure. Shout out to good old Pat Fryermuth. Shout out to good old Pat Fryermuth. Carl Wardo Salad Spackler here. Spill the beans. Who was it that told Tomlin that Broderick was the next guy? I honestly don't remember. I'm trying to remember for the last like couple of days here, but I just don't remember who that guy is. Like, I know a couple of them who've told Tomlin names in the past that were really good, but I don't remember who told him Broderick was the guy. I don't know if he ever told me. Like, he might have just told me the story without actually giving me a name. I'm not 100%. Don't let Aaron Rodgers push the sled. Salad with Rams. Could you say this one?
Ramserific?
Ramserific.
Yeah.
There it is. Thank you very much. Gone off the Dolphins. Is there any truth to the rumor Trey Hendrickson might leave our division to fill the empty spot with the Dolphins? Okay, so I don't know anything about the Dolphins. I don't know anything about him going to the Dolphins. I'm being honest when I say that. What I have heard is that there is still a team out there in the AFC North that was sitting around a couple of days ago going, damn, dude, Trey Hendrickson would be pretty cool in this defense. I'm not going to say who that team was, but I do know more about them than most teams that I talk about. So just tossing out there. Now, do I think the Steelers are going to trade for Trey Hendrickson? No. Do I think that they're looking at it going, the Bengals F this up big enough, they messed this up enough, we might just say, screw it, let's, shoot. We'll see what happens here. But and that would make their defense ridiculous. Like, you don't have a place for them, but you don't really need one. I think that would be the mentality of just like, yeah, everybody on the field's good at all times. It doesn't matter who you are. That would be great. I don't know if he's going to the Dolphins. I know him and Cincinnati are in it's not even like a kind of bad place. It's a really bad place. Right now, things are not looking good between him and Cincinnati. So we'll see what happens.
Yikes. I mean, do you think there's any shot, since they were able to figure out the Shamar Stewart situation over in Cincinnati, that maybe this comes together at the last minute for Trey Hendrickson? Or do you think it is overwhelmingly likely that he suits up for another team whenever he plays his next down?
I don't know. I think it's still early. I think that it's not close enough to the regular season to start saying there's no chance it's going to happen. But I also am not. I would say we have not. The Bengals and Trey Hendrickson haven't even hit the 50-yard line yet. Like they're not even in their own side of the field. They're not even trying to score. So right now it's about laying the foundation, getting into field goal range, and then going from there. But I'm not going to guess that he's not going to be here. I'm just, because it's too early. But I don't, like, if you told me to predict when he signs, I'd say I don't think I could predict that he does sign. I don't think that they're close enough on that, just from what I've been told. And I've been tracking the Trey Hendrickson thing for a minute. You could go back to last season. I tossed Trey Hendrickson's name out there and people told me I'm crazy. They said, well, the Steelers would never. And I think I was crazy at the time. I do. But they have been in a bad place for a long time. Long time. We'll see what happens. Cordell Patterson Salad, which is without question the best name we've ever had here. So we've had some crazy, insane, awesome salads here. And me and Jacob were talking about it coming up here. Like, it is a wild life we live that somehow we do a podcast where where the collection of viewers is called the picnic pack. Life is awesome. Life is so awesome. The Cordero Patterson Salad is so incredible. Jacob wins the boxing match via disqualification /cut. Jacob's next opponent is Broderick. Yeah, Broderick would eat you alive, brother. Cordell Patterson would smoke you. He's from the South. Broderick Jones is a big dude from the South who played at Georgia and fights TJ Watt every day for a living. that punch, it might not stop Alex Highsmith, but it's going to put your face through a wall. That's what it's going to do.
Oh yeah, that big meaty paw would just absolutely wreck my face. There's no doubt about that. But I do want to give a shout out to Shower Curtain's comment here, who says, "Just stay on his right side, Jacob. He sucks there." So, maybe I can't win a 1-to-1 scrap, but maybe I'd have to be technical in there. And maybe if I get them in the right direction, maybe it goes my way. I don't know, a little bob and weave. But thanks for the direction there, Shower Curtain. Appreciate you, boss.
So awesome. Keeping it trucking here. Are you getting ready to hang out with the Pat McAfee show tomorrow? I think, okay, so here's the thing. When it comes to Pat McAfee, I need everybody here to do us a big giant favor, and that is to comment on Pat McAfee's live stream tomorrow and say you guys should bring Noah and Jacob up on stage, and just keep, because if we get enough people, I think they might do it. Now, do I know Pat? No, I don't. Never met him. Wish I could. Sounds like a good dude. I'm sure I will meet him tomorrow. I'm sure we will get an opportunity to meet him tomorrow. The only way we're getting up there is if you guys, because they have a quote unquote star-studded guest list. I've heard rumors of who's going up there. I'm not gonna do that to the guy. I'm not gonna waste that. But I've heard rumors of who's going up there, and I think we got to be up there. We need your guys' help to see if we could. All right, keeping it trucking here. Ernie Jones, do you think Aaron Rodgers could sign an extension with the Pittsburgh Steelers? I think it all depends on how this season goes. I don't think the door's shut. I don't think the whole "this is my last season" thing means anything right now. But I don't know. We'll see. I think the Steelers would have to get very, very, very close to winning a Super Bowl, make it look like they could win a Super Bowl in 2026 and then bring him back. I think that's the only way that Aaron's coming back for one more season. Do you feel different?
No, I think I feel pretty squarely in the camp that this will be his final season. I think there's definitely space for that to change. And I don't think that the words that he's said have done a really good job of convincing everybody that this is without a doubt the final ride for him in the NFL. So, the door, I guess, is always open. The Steelers do wild things, and if they love what they see out of Aaron Rodgers and feel like that, like Noah said, that they are on the verge of a Super Bowl, they just need to run it back one more time and make a small adjustment, then he could sign a 1-year extension, and I don't think anyone would find that to be totally bizarre. But I do think this is going to be, for right now at least, this will be a one and done situation for Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think right now that's the outlook for it. But again, that's how things change. Is if the Steelers, you know what I mean, they lose to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs by 3 points, in Arrowhead in a game that looks so crazy, I bet you Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers are going, all right, let's get it one more time. Let's see what happens, and we go from there. Want to give a shout out to Fernando here. Hey, Noah, my dad and I shouted you out on the first day of training camp. Thanks for waving back. Do fans say hi to you guys often? Yeah, we get about, 1 or 2 people a day that say what's good. And let me tell you guys, every time somebody says hi to us, it's the coolest thing ever. So please do. I love meeting you guys just as much as you guys want to say hi to me. I want to meet you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest thing, is like, we sit here, we're talking heads. I want to put a face to a name to Macaroni Salad or Fernando or whoever, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that's awesome. I consider everybody on here, friends. So I'm pretty pumped about it. But yeah, it does happen. Jacob got his first shout out today, which was pretty cool. We appreciate you guys. And one more here, Internal Endurance Resilience Service. What a name. So there I was, drove from Florida, posted up at the end zone line for 7 shots, tossed the deuces to Noah and Jacob. The bang, it's over. Ian's going out tonight. I saw you up there. I felt so bad immediately. That's a tough one. Hopefully you're coming back tomorrow, or I hope, because tomorrow will be the same thing as today. If not, I'm so sorry. We'll try to get as much videos as possible. No, not going out tonight. Told my wife I was going to be home for dinner at 3:30. when practice got canceled, said, yo, I'm getting home early. It's 6 o'clock. There's no chance I'm getting home before 8 o'clock. There's like zero. So dinner not happening. Actually just got the text that said, are you coming home? Really texted her back and said no. And she said, all right, cool. I'm leaving. I said, all right, enjoy the night, pal. I'll see you later. So shout out. I really do. I hope you're coming back tomorrow, man. I hope you are. Cordero Patterson salad. We need a Gunnar Olszewski salad. I heard Jacob's laugh from across the room. That's how loud it was. That got him. That was a good one. Shout out tortellini salad, my guys. Shout out to you as always, and shout out to the Picnic Pack. Excited for the salad takeover on the call-in show tomorrow. Me too, guys. I'm fired up. I will say, have a meeting before we head up here at 10, I believe. So me and Jacob will hit the road about 10:30ish. Somewhere in that ballpark. I'll record the show probably about 8:30 in the morning. So make sure you're getting them in before then. If not tonight, super excited for it. Shower Curtain, what time is the McAfee show tomorrow? I believe it's on at noon. I believe it starts at noon, goes till about 5 o'clock. Keeping it trucking here. Don't let Aaron push the sleds. Salad. Can we call Warren and Johnson duo Thunder and Lightning? I honestly think they're both just like lightning. Like it's just lightning and lightning. Like these two dudes are just explosive at all times. Love the Thunder and Lightning. Kind of the problem with that one is that was it Landon White? I think it was Landon. I don't think Landon's not the name, but Chris Johnson and man, I'm blanking.
Lendell White?
Lendell White. Yes. Thank you. In Tennessee. I think they were Thunder and Lightning. And I always think of them. I kind of just like Lightning and Flash. We need two fast dudes. You know what I mean? That's who we got to go for this one for sure. SmackDown MJD, and who do you think Danny Smith's favorite addition is this year? Ooh, I'll let you answer this one. Who do you think their favorite addition is? And on top of that one, how's our punter and Boz looking so far? Have they put in the work? Boz hasn't kicked anything. He never does during training camp. He'll kick like the third last day of training camp. Doesn't even wear a jersey out here. It's hilarious. Gotta love Boz. And the punters are booming. I'll let you answer that one as well.
Yes, they are. Oh yeah, Noah's gonna do some running for us to get the lights back on over his way. And yeah, the punting competition. I'll start with that. It's been incredible. I mentioned it a little bit last week as well. Both Cameron Johnson and Corliss Waitman are doing incredible things as they punt the ball. It's wild that a punting competition has captured my attention so much, but truly, it really, really has. And I'm excited to see this continue to play out over the next couple of weeks. For the first question, who is Danny Smith's favorite addition? Not sure 100%, but I think I have a sneaking suspicion that Jack Sawyer is going to be someone Danny Smith loves on the special teams unit. I think Jack Sawyer can work his way into having a bigger role on the defense this year, but as a rookie, I think he's going to excel and make most of his plays on the special teams unit. And I think that size, I think that tenacity, that physicality, and that tackling ability are going to be things that Danny Smith loves. And I think we're going to see him rock a few people on the kick return.
Love it. I have no idea who you named, but I trust your input for sure. Who was the guy that you tossed out there?
I said Jack Sawyer. I think as a rookie, he's going to have to really prove himself in the special teams unit. And I think Danny Smith will just love what he brings.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll toss you another one. Malik Harrison, I think, is going to be a stud for the special teams unit. I think that dude's going to look really, really good. He's so big. It's crazy how big he is for a middle linebacker. It's pretty crazy, actually. Maddie here. Do we think that Aaron can get back to his love for football to keep this team together? Do you think not being the savior of the team helps motivate him just to have fun with it? Yeah, I think that's a big influence in what brought him here, is that the Pittsburgh Steelers have told him right from the jump that he's not the savior. He's just coming in here to be a quarterback and to be their quarterback. And that's a big role, but you know, you're not in here to win us a Super Bowl. You're in here to be a piece so that we could win a Super Bowl. I think that's big. I think Aaron loves the game of football, though. Like, Aaron's having a blast out here. He stiff-armed somebody. I think it was Patrick Queen the other day. And, like, obviously Patrick Queen would destroy him in any other stiff arm. But, like, Aaron went out, was running the sidelines, gave him a little stiff arm. The two joked afterwards, like, big smiles. You know, it's just Aaron's having a blast out here. So, yeah, to be honest, like, my biggest surprise from Aaron, my biggest takeaway from him is that he is such a good quarterback in terms of being a leader for a team. Like Russ was so optimistic that like it almost like it just pissed guys off. They didn't like it. You know, Kenny didn't have any control of this locker room. He was a dude who came in here and nobody like they were like, yeah, he's our quarterback, but he's not a leader. You know, Mitch never had control of this locker room. Aaron's a guy that comes in here. He immediately like he's the quarterback, and you're like, okay, like you know, there's a certain swagger about that, and Aaron has it, and I think it's very apparent right from the jump.
Yeah, I mean, I'll fess up to, one of my biggest concerns about bringing Aaron Rodgers in was how much of an impact would he actually have as a leader in the locker room. And so far, I couldn't have been farther from the reality with what I expected to happen. Every single player in that locker room has taken to him like, flies to crap. And they are following him everywhere. And I think that his word goes so much farther than some of these other quarterbacks that have gone through the locker room because of his experience, because of his accolades, because of his Super Bowl acumen. I just think he loves the game for sure. I think he might have lost a little bit of that love over the last couple of years, going through getting out of Green Bay, going through an Achilles injury with the New York Jets. I think a lot of that can really take a toll on anyone's love of their job and their passion. I think, that would be acceptable in any situation for that to happen. But I think coming here when he said, this one's for the soul, I do really believe him in the fact that he has been a very excellent leader in the locker room, an involved leader, and someone that everyone else on the Steelers organization and roster is looking to for advice and that leadership role. So yeah, I feel like he's not being asked to be the savior. Maybe there's some tension off of him because of it, but that doesn't mean that he has been any less of a vocal leader or any less of a positive impact and influence on the locker room. So yeah, I think he's having fun, and the Steelers are having fun with him too.
Yeah, exactly. Pittsburgh Hornets, for those who haven't been, what does the team do when it rains? Do they make up a practice? No, they just go and practice on the gymnasium up here, which I've never seen, but I'm picturing a Division III gymnasium. I played Division III lacrosse, okay? Gym was much smaller than the room that me and Jacob are currently sitting in. And that's what I picture 90 dudes in a space that they should not be in. Practicing football, not really practicing football, just kind of doing things. So that's kind of a picture. They don't make up for it. It does throw a little wrench into the schedule for anybody who cares. Tomorrow they'll do pads. Thursday they won't do pads. Friday they'll do pads. And Saturday they'll do pads because you can only go 2 days in a row of pads before a day off. It was supposed to be today, tomorrow, Thursday off, then Friday night lights, but they have to readjust that because of Friday night lights. Carl Wardoff Salad Spackler. Question for both of you. You can pick one. Be interviewed by Pat McAfee on his show, Rich Eisen on his show, or host NFL Red Zone for one day. I'll be very transparent here. I can't hold my bladder for 7 hours. I can't do it. And credit to Scott, because that dude is a legend, and what he's able to do to dehydrate himself for that show is insane, but I can't do that. Nor do I think I would. Like, I think it'd be a blast, but I think I'd be so physically exhausted. It wouldn't make it. I couldn't do it. This is an easy one for me. I don't know if you have a different answer, but I've watched the Rich Eisen show since I'm 5. Like the Rich Eisen was my dude at ESPN. I was so pissed when he got fired. Then he went to the NFL Network. I was so pumped. Then he got his own show. I was so pumped there. Rich Eisen, without question, is mine on this one, just because it's like I've been looking up to. I watch Rich Eisen literally every single day. And meeting him, I've met him one time in like a very informal, really quick walk by. Hey, it's great to meet you. My name's Noah Strackbine. He had a place to go. I had a place to go. To really be able to sit down with him, I think would be so incredible. That's mine.
Yeah, great answer. I think as someone who's just like a similar age to Noah, Rich Eisen has been a huge influence on me just since I was a kid. So it's hard to not go that way. But I think for the exact reasons Noah would not want to be the host for one day of NFL Red Zone is probably why I would like to try it, because it seems like one of the most taxing and grueling jobs as far as journalism goes, because I am aware of the grueling nature, quote unquote, of being of journalism. It's not that that grueling, but having to hold your pee for 7 hours, that seems a bit torturous.
Yes.
Don't know if I could do it. Don't know if I've ever gone longer than 3 hours while I'm awake without peeing. So to see how much I could go, to see how much I could stretch myself, I mean, that's what life's all about, is overcoming challenges. So I think I would like to see if I could do that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Life's all about challenging yourself and getting better. I hear you. No chance, brother. Cannot do it. Will not do it. Will not do it. Pittsburgh Hornets. Could we see Pat Meyer go midseason or before the season starts? Definitely not before the season starts. I also don't think it'd be mid-season. I think it'd have to be really, really bad to go mid-season. That's just like, I don't even have a reason behind it outside of like, it doesn't make sense to fire a position coach in the middle of the season. It happens very rarely. I just don't think the Steelers have that on their to-do list. That usually doesn't happen. Position coaches usually don't happen until the end of the season, and Pat Meyer's contract's up after the season. So if I had to guess, that's just what they're going to do. I give it almost a 0% chance that either one of these would happen. Do you feel different?
No, I think if the contract situation was different, if he wasn't in the final year of his contract, I could see it being more likely that maybe they would get rid of him mid-season. But I mean, let's look at the history. The Steelers don't really, with the exception of Matt Canada, I can't name another coordinator or position coach that has been fired mid-season in the last 10 or 15 years. Maybe I'm just drawing a blank, but I don't think it's really the Steelers' MO to do that. Now, if Pat Meyer had signed an extension last season or something like that and still had 2 years left, but there was this obvious and unstoppable declining sort of factor happening on the offensive line, then sure, maybe you make a change because you have to save the season. But no, I would agree with Noah. I would say there's like a 1% chance of anything happening to Pat Meyer during the season. I would expect a new coaching hire to happen after the 2025 season ends.
Yeah, I agree. Internal endurance, resilience service. My daughters really want to meet you guys. They have something prepared to say to you. I'm actually very excited for this one. If you are here tomorrow, which I think I saw you said that you were here tomorrow, please make sure that you come see us. Like, please, that would be, I gotta know. I'm so excited. Shout out your daughters. I hope they, having a good day, keeping it trucking. You know what I'm saying? As always, shout out to you guys. That's awesome. That's super, super awesome. Maddie, one more time. Terry McLaurin is looking bad too, as he wants DK Metcalf money. What are your thoughts on that? I think it just further solidifies that the Pittsburgh Steelers will not even come close to touching the guy, and we can officially remove him from the list. You're not paying Terry McLaurin $35 million at 28 years old if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's just not happening. You have a guy named DK Metcalf. You're not. There are options. You could talk trade all day, but you're not. Terry McLaurin is officially off the board. That was my first thought as soon as I saw the report was, all right, well, there goes. That's the end of the conversation, because the Steelers wouldn't even consider paying Terry McLaurin $35+ million a year.
No, they just simply can't. It just would make no sense. I never found Terry McLaurin to be a very viable option for the Steelers because of this pending contract negotiation. And it's clear that he wants, I think he's worthy of $30 million a year, especially given the wide receivers market right now, and who is making the most amount of money amongst the NFL wide receivers. But I mean, there would be no reason for the Steelers to do that. There wasn't a reason for them to do it a month ago. There's certainly not a reason to do it now that you have TJ Watt signed to his massive extension, and let's call it maybe $10-ish million in salary cap space to possibly spend before the season begins. It's just, none of it makes sense for me. I think he does deserve to be one of the higher paid wide receivers, especially with the Washington Commanders, because he's an incredibly elite wide receiver. But he's having a tough time. He's frustrated. He keeps vocalizing that he's frustrated. I don't think that's helping his performance either. So I'm not too concerned about his actual performance on the field in training camp, but I am concerned that he won't get that deal that he wants, and it might require a trade to get that.
So here's the off of this question. Should he get $33 million a year? I think the answer is yes. I think he should get $33 million a year on like 3 years. He's better than DK Metcalf. DK is getting just about $30 million a year. I mean, my answer to this is yes. North of 33, no. You're not getting Jamar Chase money, but I would say 33. I'd feel pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, I mean, if I think he's a $30 million receiver, I'm fine with him being a $33 million a year receiver. He's elite. He's one of the top 10 wide receivers in the entire NFL, in my opinion. So you got to pay him.
All right. Enigma After Dark. Noah, give us a story from your lacrosse glory days. I don't have any. I wasn't very good, to be honest with you. I was not a good college lacrosse player. I was the dude who got this. I was the Robert Spillane of my college lacrosse team because I was just out there because I always win 100%. I'd hit you harder than anybody on the field. But that was all I had going. You know what I mean? I was fast enough to keep up, but that was good enough. I wasn't beating you by no means. I was athletic enough, I guess. My glory day lacrosse came in high school, and this is the only reason I ever got to play college lacrosse is one game, which shout out to my high school girlfriend for recording this entire game. One game I scored like 7 goals in a game and immediately just sent it to every coach imaginable. I was like, hey, I'm pretty good at this lacrosse thing. You guys should all recruit me. And I got a couple of really bad teams that were like, oh yeah. I actually had one. I had 2 teams that were like not legit, but legit. They were Division I club teams, and it was LaSalle and Penn State. And they were both like, hey, come hang out. And I watched one practice of LaSalle lacrosse, and I was like, dude, I'd get smoked here. There's no chance I'd ever play lacrosse here. I would die. So I went and played D3 lacrosse. Shout out. You know what I mean? Shout out. Carrie, Noah and Jacob, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the chances the Steelers make it to the AFC Championship game? I'd say above a 5, but like a 6 max. I feel like that's a good number. You know what I mean? You could do it. I feel it's not less than 50%, but I don't think it's much higher than 50%. 5.5 maybe.
Wow. I'm less confident than you right now. I think I feel just under that 50% mark. I feel like a 3 or a 4 is where I want to go. And just to be, I guess, to be a little snarky, I'll go with 3. I don't see this team as being an AFC Championship team right now. We say it so many times, this is not the time to fully declare our intentions and predictions for the Steelers based off of, 7 actual practice days of training camp or whatever it's been. They're a playoff team. I really feel like this could be the year that they win a playoff game and break that 8-year drought. But an AFC Championship game, I'm not very confident about right now. So I'll go 3. I'll give it space to maybe go up from here, but for right now, I still feel pretty much less confident than Noah does.
Word. Cody Silva with a fantastic comment. Really, you yelled at a reporter when he said that's why you play defense? If you don't know that story, it's the me and Robert Spillane story. Shout out Rob. Heard he's doing well in New England. Still the most terrifying moment of my life, for sure. Marlon, no, when is the first Tomlin Tuesday? It will be, I don't think it'll be next week. It'll be, I don't know. I think it's the first week of the season. I'm pretty sure it's the first week of the season, or like the first week after. So the gap week, you know what I mean? You have the end of cuts, then you have that week of preparation, then you have the game, and I think it's that Tuesday in the gap week. I'm pretty sure that's when it happens. Do y'all think Rodgers is injury prone? No, I don't. He doesn't have a long list of injuries, like, at all. He has the Achilles, which is big, but that's about it. I view this as, do you feel no? Do you feel yes? No? I feel no.
No, I don't think he's injury prone. I think that, I tend to not describe players as injury prone if they've had like a major injury, like an Achilles injury that Aaron Rodgers suffered. Like, it wasn't like he wasn't working out enough or he wasn't taking care of his body, and then like this injury developed into something much worse. It was a totally freak major injury. And when stuff like that happens, I just, I can't call them injury prone. It seems like unlucky might be a better term to use for that situation. And besides that, I don't think Rodgers has a ton of other major injuries in his career when he was with Green Bay.
No, it's got, I don't think any, to be honest. Pittsburgh Hornets, if you could bring any player back to the Steelers in their prime, but you have to fight them in their current age, who would it be? Mean Joe Green, because he'd still kill me, but at least I have, you know what I mean? Like he's coming back in his prime, and I'm only getting beat up by an old guy. Like that's okay. I'd say like Terry Bradshaw, but like I'm okay, to be honest. Like the bus, I still think would smoke me. I think Mean Joe Green's like old enough where it would just hurt. It would hurt less enough to be like, okay, I did that for the team. You know what I mean? I took one for you guys here, and it still sucked, but we were good. And then you have like, James Harrison would murder me without question. We were actually sitting in the media room going through horror stories of times James Harrison got mad at reporters, and it's the scariest thing in the world. Like, it's Mean Joe Green. I think mine's Mean Joe Green.
Yeah, that's a real tough for you, Noah, to fight a 78-year-old Mean Joe Green. I can't disagree with it, though. I think I'm going to go Terry Bradshaw because I just genuinely don't think, even at 78 years old, I do not think.
No, he'd kick your ass.
He'd destroy me. Terry Bradshaw, I think I might be able to outrun. And I think that might be the only thing that I could,
if that's the case, I'm going Ben, dude. Ben's not catching me. That guy's got no hips. And I get him in his prime? No, dude. No.
No, me, not you. You're faster than I am. You played DP lacrosse.
I think he I think you can outrun Ben. I think I've seen that man, dude. I've seen that man try to sit down. Okay. It's not good. It's not good. I think I'm telling you, I think you can outrun him enough. And if that's the game plan, you might as well go Ben over Terry. You get a better product, for an equal amount of run there. Terry gets a hold of you, he's gonna kick your ass. You know what I mean? I talked to Terry 2 years ago or something like that. Did an interview with him when he was releasing his ghost show or something about how his house was haunted. And after we had a nice conversation about how my house was also haunted, we got talking, and the whole time I was on the Zoom going, Terry'd still kick my ass. This is still a tough guy. So if you're going with the running method, I'm telling you, dude, I watched Gunnar Olszewski tie Ben Roethlisberger's shoes for a full season. I watched it happen. Could you? You're gonna get it. You're gonna get, and that ding ding. You're already gone. You know the method. He has no idea it's coming. I think you could get him. I do.
All right, let's put it to the test, Ben. Me and you. See if you can catch me. Let's go.
Game of tag. And we'll finish it off with this one. Shower curtain. Is Chris Olave still looking like an option? I don't think so right now. I don't think that the Steelers are looking at a wide receiver where we currently sit here today. That could change, but and Chris Olave will be a name that like later in the offseason people are talking about. But right now, I don't think he's on the table for the Steelers. I haven't heard anything. I've heard pretty straightforward that I don't think the Steelers are. It doesn't sound like the Steelers are looking for a wide receiver option right now. So maybe down the road, but right here, I would say no.
Yeah, I'll just take another opportunity to say that I don't believe the Steelers will add to their wide receivers room before week 1 of the regular season. And I think everything that I've been seeing in camp so far and hearing about only reinforces that. So Chris Olave still might be an option. And if a trade occurs, I think he still should be on the top of the list of the Steelers like wish list. But I just think we're going into this season with DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, Robert Woods, and, maybe someone else.
Yeah, I agree. All right. With that said, guys, we're heading out of here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to a rained out episode, but still a good one of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, find all of our work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. If you guys are here for the rest of the week, please make sure that you're saying what's up as we walk by you. Love meeting you guys. Super excited about it. We'll be back tomorrow live from hopefully the first day of pads here at St. Vincent College. Until then, enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg. Peace.